Hi guys, I've realized I forgot to film an intro for this video. So this is from just the last weekend of like me prepping Charlie for his show, because when I asked on Instagram, there was a lot of people wanting to know about show prep. So I tried to film as much of it as I could to show you how I prepare my horses for the show ring. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna sort of talk over the little bits, but you'll see that anyway. And yeah, sort of explain what I do. Obviously everyone does it differently, but this is how I prep my horses for the show ring. So anyway, enjoy the video. Okay, so when it comes to painting socks, it's really important to clip them out. I don't clip down to the skin. I know some people that do, but you get sunburn and stuff then. So I just clip it so that it's really short, so that when I paint it, it's nice and even, and the paint doesn't end up looking cakey on their socks. This was a couple of days before the show. I was just cleaning up her ears. So she doesn't grow much hair in her ears anyway. So I just clean up her ears with a razor and some scissors. And that just keeps them looking nice and short and nice and clean, particularly around the outsides, just to have a nice outline around the ear and not have all of that unwanted fluff. So when I start plaiting, I always section the mane with bands the whole way down, and by doing this, I've sectioned it into really small sections for show horse plaits, and then I plait them down like, as you can see here, just normal plaits, and you've got to make sure that they're really nice and tight, otherwise they're going to come undone. So here's a slowed down version of how I plait. So I'm just getting the thread ready so that it doesn't come out, and then I tuck it up through the base of the plait, sew that back in half again, and then I tuck the plait back up to the base again, sew through the base, and then you can see that then you sew in and out. And you always want to go through the bottom of the plait, that way you won't see the thread. If you sticking your needle through the middle of the plait, you're going to be able to see your thread where you have threaded it. So now we're putting in the false tail. This is the morning of the show. And so everyone, again, puts false tails in differently. I find some hair from the middle of her tail right at the base of her dock, and I just start a normal plait. I then put the loop of her false tail onto one of the threads of the plait, so that it becomes part of the plait, and then I plait that down a little bit further past where I've put the false tail in so that it doesn't come out, band that, and then that is your false tail in, and it's nice and easy to get back out. So now we're starting with quarter marks. She is a little show pony, so I do the checkers on her. I don't do the hunter bars. So to do the checkers, I was busy talking to someone. To do the checkers, I use this NTR quarter marks comb, but you can use any quarter mark comb. And I do one square, and then you'll see that I then start the next square for the next row down from the corner of the square that I just did, and then you go back up again to the top, and you go from the corner of each square. That way you can make sure that the gap in between each square is the right size, and you're not just guessing if you've got the right size. That way you can actually make sure that all of your squares are even, both the ones that you're drawing on but also the ones that end up in between. After I've done this, you'll see me do the shark's teeth. She's actually blown a winter coat here, so it made it a little bit difficult to be able to see them because it wasn't an ideal coat length for the quarter marks. I used the Champion Tails quarter marking spray. I can't actually remember what that's called. And I also used a little bit of Show Sheen at the start there just to wet her coat. So yeah, here is the shark's teeth. There's probably a better video to find on YouTube that you can watch that'll show you how to do it a little bit better. And like I say, because of her coat length, it's a bit difficult to see anyway. So now we're painting that sock that I clipped out a couple of days prior. I used the Champion Tails white cover cream. I think that's fantastic. And I put mine on with a toothbrush. Some people do this with a makeup sponge or a wipe, but I find a toothbrush is really useful, and it's able to give you a nice clean line from where the sock starts from on her leg. So I obviously don't want to cover up the chestnut part of her leg, so having the toothbrush means that you're able to get a really nice blend, and it doesn't look like you've just painted over the top of her leg, which is really nice. So again, this is why we clipped out the sock a couple of days prior, so that this stayed on and doesn't look cakey. It just looks really nice and white, but doesn't look obvious that you have painted it. So now I'm putting the makeup on her eyes. I actually used the Champion Tails Stays Put this weekend. Normally I use Judge's Choice black makeup, but either of them are really good. So I use a little makeup sponge, and I don't like to put tons on. I just put it on her eyelid, as you can see, and then down slightly below her eye, but you don't want to bring it too far down their face. You're just wanting to accentuate what is already black on their face, not wanting to make it look like you've drawn googly eyes on them. And then lastly, I've got to paint on her stripe. So again, I use that white cover cream and a makeup sponge. And you're just wanting to, basically make it stand out and make it look a little bit wider, not like I've painted a stripe on her face. And after this, we are all ready for the show ring.